Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's intuitive tapping session. My name is Megan Basita. I'm an energy management mentor and an EFT practitioner, and I help moms to leverage their energy so that they can make the most out of their time. And today's topic, I think, is going to be a little bit of a feather ruffler. It's going to be something where there's a few things that come up around this. And I first heard this concept about not asking for permission, but asking for support from a guy named Alex Hermosi. He's like a business coach and he's a really big guy in business. And I was listening to a training that he did, and he had talked about this. He's like, a lot of people are asking for permission when they actually need to be asking for support. And so this immediately clicked in for me, and especially around motherhood. That's where we're applying it today. And it can be applied to entrepreneurship as well. I also have a separate community for moms who are entrepreneurs. It's called the EnergyLed Mompreneur. The link to that is in the description here. So if you'd like to check out this kind of work in a deeper capacity and with more depth, go and check that out over there. But I thought today we would do a tapping session around this whole concept of how moms tend to ask for permission, or there's that energy of permission. It's not necessarily asking for permission, but there's an energy behind what they're asking for, what they want or need, that is asking if they're allowed to have it, and then shifting into the space of, or this energy of, asking for support to make the things that you want and need happen. So there's a big difference between the two. And the moment that I started to understand this for myself as a stay-at-home mom with 2 toddlers at the time, with a lot of learning how to communicate with my husband and other people in my life who were supporting me, and also with myself. I needed to learn how to communicate with myself so that I understood my worth, my value, and my enoughness to be able to get the things that I wanted and to be able to get the things that I needed. Right. And so I think as moms, we tend to believe that we can go without, or we talk ourselves out of getting the things that we want or need to make our life easier, to make things flow better. There's always, caveat, there's always going to be stress and struggle. You know what? There's always going to be those kinds of things that come up where we have to, things get hard sometimes. That's just life. But the way that we go through those things and the way that we kind of take charge in those moments, that as moms, we are able to take charge in those moments for other people. We are able to be the permission slip for other people to go and do the things that they want and need. Our kids, our spouses, our friends, colleagues, family, whatever it might be, right? Strangers on the street. They're like, oh, you have that voice, or you have that demeanor about you that's so nurturing and motherly, and people open up to you and talk to you. And what do you tell them? You tell them to go and do the damn thing, right? But we can't tell that to ourselves. We don't tell that to ourselves. And so we get hung up on this permissive attitude where we don't think that we are worthy, or we can have, or we are deserving, or that it will work out for us in some way, shape, or form to get what we want or what we need, right? And here on the other spectrum, like I just said, we are encouraging and, helping other people get what they want and what they need. And we think that they deserve everything in the world, right? And so when I heard Alex Hermosi talking about this, it immediately clicked for me. And I have walked through this experience for myself. And I have to continue to remember that it's not about me asking for permission, because I'm already worthy, I'm already enough, and I'm already deserving of what it is that I want and need. And when I'm happy, when I'm healthy, when I'm feeling fulfilled, when I am feeling my full energy, I am able to give so much more to those around me. And I can do it with patience, and I can do it with presence. And so that in and of itself alone is the worthiness piece of getting our cup fulfilled as well, right? So we're going to start by doing a venting round. We're going to let go, because I think a lot of belief comes up like, we are a mom, we are meant to sacrifice. What we want doesn't matter right now. We'll do it later. We'll do it when the kids are older. We'll do it when we have more time, when we have more energy, when we have more space. We'll do it when we're not distracted or interrupted. We'll do it when we have more money, because we feel like we are taking away from our family in some way, shape, or form the resources that we would need to take to fulfill ourselves. We feel like we are taking away from our family, which is not the case. Like I just said, I mean, we're jumping ahead here. Some of you may not believe that, and some of you may be on the way to believing that, or some of you may fully believe this already. And we're just deepening that understanding that we are worthy anyway, and that what we want, we get. Because when we get what we want and when we get what we need, we can, that ripples out like 100 times more, because we're able to hold the capacity to be able to help other people get what they want and get what they need. So let's get going. We're going to get tapping, and we're going to release some of that resistance, or the barriers or the blocks that we might have around taking what we want and taking what we need, or receiving what we want and need. That's always another thing too. It's about the receiving. So I've got some really funky light here. I'm trying to figure out how to set up my office space a little bit differently, because it's obviously a shared space. You can see a vise in the background. My husband has a workbench in here as well. So anyway, we're going to, before we start getting tapping, just sit for a moment here. Take a nice breath, close your eyes if you can, and tune into what it feels like for you to ask for what you want. And tuning into, I'd like to have more time for myself. I'd like to go grocery shopping by myself. I'd like to have a coffee by myself. I would like more time by myself. I would like more time to be with my friends. I would like more time to, what else could it be? Just time for you to do something that is fulfilling for you. It doesn't have to be anything at all. It doesn't have to be important. It doesn't have to be spectacular. It doesn't have to have a purpose. And just kind of tuning into what it is that you might want right now in this moment. Maybe it's more sleep. Maybe it's another cup of coffee. Maybe it's some time and space away from the kids. Maybe it's some time and space away from other people. Maybe it is time and space alone. Maybe it's time and space to be able to do something that fills you up. Maybe you want to learn something. Whatever it might be, just tune in. Maybe you want something really freaking good to eat and you don't want to make it. Right? Just tuning into what it is that you want right now, what you need right now, something that would make you feel happy and satisfied and satiated and fulfilled. And notice how you react when you think about asking for that thing, whether you're asking somebody specifically, whether you are just putting out that ask into the universe. And how are you receiving this information? How are you receiving this feedback from your emotions or your thoughts or your body in how you're asking? Do you sense an energy? Do you think you're like, can I maybe have this? Do you think I could get this? Do you, if you're asking somebody specifically, this is something that I struggled with, asking for specific things for my husband. I thought that because he doesn't understand why I need them, and that I had to over justify and over explain at some point why I needed to have the things that I wanted, or why I needed what I want, what I needed, what I needed, and why I wanted what I wanted. And, having to justify that to him. And how uncomfortable that made me feel. And that justification kind of put out this vibe of permission, give me permission to do the things that I want and need. And so just tuning in to see if there's anything like that that's coming up for you today. And go ahead, if you'd like to, even on the replay, put in the comments some of the feelings, some of the thoughts that are coming up for you as you think about asking for what you want and need. And we can work them into future tapping sessions. But yeah, so we're going to start tapping on the side of the hand, and I'll just use examples that I have and that I have witnessed and seen in my own personal life and what I've witnessed and seen in others around me. So we're going to start by tapping on the side of the hand and say, even though I don't think that I can get what I want or need right now, I feel like there's not enough time, energy, or money for me to get what I want and need right now. I'd like to love and accept myself where I am right now and get curious about why I think that this is not available to me right now. Even though when I think about asking someone or something for what I want or need, I feel anxious. I feel resistance. I just don't like confrontation. And I love and accept myself anyway, even as all of these feelings are coming up. And I'd like to explore them a little more today. Even though when it comes to asking for what I want and need, I feel resistance, and I just really rather not, and so I don't. I wonder if I could see this differently today. And I'd like to love and accept myself where I am no matter what. Okay, we're going to move to the top of the head now and say, I don't like asking for things. Eyebrow point. If I can't do it for myself, I won't do it at all. Side of the eye. It's too much work and confrontation. Underneath the eye. To ask somebody else to help me out. Underneath the nose. I feel like I have to explain to them why I want what I want. Underneath the mouth. I have to justify why I need what I need. Collarbone point. It's easier just to do it myself. Underneath the arms, or not do it at all. Underneath the chest. I'll do it later. Wrist points. I'll do it when I have more time. Top of the head. I'll do it when I have more energy. Eyebrow point. When I have more money. Side of the eye. I'll do it when I have finished something else. Underneath the eye. I'll do it when I've contributed more to the house. Underneath the nose. I'll do it when I get all of the stuff done. Underneath the mouth. For the kids. Collarbone point. I have to wait. Underneath the arms. There's more important things to do. Underneath the chest than to get what I want or need. Wrist points. That's not a priority right now. Top of the head. I forgive myself for believing this now. Eyebrow point. I forgive myself for believing that I'm not a priority. Side of the eye. I forgive myself for believing that I don't matter right now. the eye. I forgive myself for believing that I can wait. Underneath the nose. I forgive myself for believing that there's not enough for me. Underneath the mouth. I forgive myself for believing that I have to do more in order to receive. Collarbone point. All of these thoughts. Underneath the arms. All of these emotions. Underneath the chest. They distract me from the point. Wrist points. They distract me from my why. Top of the head. They distract me from what matters. Eyebrow point. Because what really matters, side of the eye, is that I show up and be the best version of me I can be. Underneath the eye. I want to show up and be the best mom. Underneath the nose. I want to show up and be the best wife. Underneath the mouth. I want to show up and be the best person. Collarbone point. I want to show up and be the best support. Underneath the arms, and the best version of me that I can possibly be. Underneath the chest. But I can't be that if I don't feel worthy. Wrist point. I can't be that if I don't feel fulfilled or recuperated. Top of the head. I can't be that if I'm always distracted and always putting others first. Eyebrow point. Today I'm letting go of this belief. Side of the eye. That in order to be the best person I can be, underneath the eyes, the best mom, wife, or woman I want to be. Underneath the nose. In order to be that, underneath the mouth, I have to prioritize everybody else before me. Collarbone point. And that what I want, what I need, underneath the arms, has to wait. Underneath the chest. I think I'm ready to see this a little bit differently today. Wrist points. And instead of asking for permission to get what I want or need, top of the head, I'm ready to ask for the support to make it happen. All right. So take a nice gentle breath there and just notice what's been coming up for you through that whole entire round. I think that there is a lot more to dig into. This is why I offer one-on-one sessions in a bundle, because the more we dig into this, the more beliefs come up, the more resistance or blocks come up, the more we try to talk ourselves out of getting into that next version of who we want to become, because we think that everything else has to happen or everything else has to be taken care of first before. And as moms, as women, we know that we will continue to take on things, to say yes to things, and to say no to ourselves, and that there is no end to the to-do list. There is no end to what it is that we're taking on, and that at some point we have to stop it. We have to change our energy, and we have to change our mindset and our mood around these things, because if we don't, we will just continue to keep on being in that autopilot mode where we continue to take on more than what we can handle, and we don't pay attention to ourselves, and we believe off our checklist, and then we can take care of ourselves. We believe that we have to take care of our kids, and that our kids have to be at a certain point before we can start to take it ourselves into consideration, or that we have to get a certain X amount of money or an X amount of time available. And it's bullshit. It is bullshit. And it takes time to get to that point. This was a huge thing for myself, especially as a stay-at-home mom with toddlers. About 6-7 years ago, this is when I really started diving deeper and deeper into this work for myself. And at some point, I remember the moment standing there thinking, I have to do this for myself now, because if I don't, the things that I'm working for, the things that I'm working towards, they won't be there necessarily, right? So time will have passed, things will have changed, and there will always be something else that comes in and takes the place of that block or barrier, that resistance that I'm struggling with. And it won't stop unless I stop it, right? It won't change unless I change it. And nobody else is going to come in and help you change it if you don't feel like you're worthy, if you don't feel like you're deserving, if you don't feel that value piece for yourself within yourself. So another thing that happened to me, a real story, was that I was handed, basically, long story short, I've shared this a lot and I probably will share it more again in detail, but I was handed what I needed the most one day, which was time alone, time away from the kids, and to be able to go and do something for myself or for our family that was not distracted, that was on my own time, right? And it was uninterrupted time and space that I needed for myself. And I was handed that to me on a silver platter. And in that moment, I refused it. I could not receive it. And so there's another marker right there that I know for myself, that if I'm not ready to receive something, if I don't believe that I'm worthy of receiving something, the things that I want, the things that I need, the things that I desire, somebody could come in up to you and be like, I have all the support for you in the world. How do you want to go about doing this? You know what? They could give you all the perfect scenarios, the perfect conditions to do something, or to do something, or to be something. And if you don't believe that you can receive that, you won't. If you don't believe your worth, if you don't believe your value or your enoughness. And so that is where this asking for permission kind of comes into play now. And so we get to a point where we're like, yes, we do deserve this. Yes, we are worthy of it. But we're still asking for permission. We're asking somebody else to validate for us that we are worthy, that we are deserving, and that we are enough, that we've done enough, that we can have the things that we want and need because we've done enough. And we're asking somebody else to uphold that for us. We're asking somebody else to confirm and validate for that. And so when we come at it that way, from my personal experience, like I had mentioned about asking my husband for certain things, and it was an ask. I was asking him for things. I was asking him permission. The moment I stopped asking him for permission was the moment that I started just doing things. And I started just telling him, hey, I'm doing this thing. How can we make this happen? Instead of, hey, I would like to do this thing. Do you think we could maybe, do you know? And it was like the whole energy behind it, right? Like the whole energy when you ask a question, or where you come into a conversation to have a discussion about things, whether you're asking or not asking, it really makes a big deal. And so I think this is a very empowerment piece. This is a self-esteem piece. This is a self-worth piece. This is an enoughness piece. And so as moms, we really need to step in that, and we need to come to the table already knowing that we are worthy. And usually this is a really interesting thing that I've been piecing together lately, is that it's not the people, it's not my family, it's not my my immediate family, my husband and my kids, it's not my extended family or my friends that are the support system, that are, that I can go to really hash this out and to build this belief within myself. I've had to go to a professional. I've had to go to a coach or a mentor to help me get in this mindset, because from the way I see it, people are always going to see you how they see you. And so my husband sees me in a certain way. My mom sees me in a certain way. My kids see me in a certain way. And so as I start to shift and change, I'm going to get pushback. And if I don't believe strong enough for myself that shift and change is actually happening, even though I know it is happening, if they don't believe it and if they show me that feedback, I I can't really get into that mindset, or I can't really get into that motivated state or that mood where I know that I'm deserving. I'll get pushed back and pushed down. And it's just the default state, it's not that there's anything bad about that, but it's a default state. So I will default back. And so I think a lot of moms really default back to getting that feedback or getting that pushback saying, yeah, right now it's not a thing. You can't do it right now, or there's not enough time. There's not enough money. Well, who's going to take care of the kids and what's going to happen here and blah, 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 blah. Right. And then that all falls back onto us. We default back to, okay, well, I have to make sure that I'm doing enough. I have to make sure that this, that, and the other is all sorted in place. And it's like we default back to that fixer stage, or that functioning stage where we just have to function and make things happen from that state, versus stepping into that embodied state and being, very considerate, but also very strong. Right. So this is the one thing that I've learned, is that I can be considerate. I'm not going to come up and be super demanding about what it is that I want or need. And I need to get really connected. The reason why I don't come up to that is because I'm a very emotional person. And I think mothers tend to be very emotional. And so you want to make sure that your emotions are in check, and you want to know why. You don't want to just be like, all right, emotions, simmer down, settle down. You want to go in there and you want to take a look at those emotions, and those emotions are not bad at all. They actually tell you how important something is. And so you don't want to lose those emotions. You want to get to the important piece of why they are that way. And you want to use that energy. You want to use that passion or that empowerment to tell somebody that you need something in a certain way, or that you need something for yourself in order to function better at a higher level, with more patience, with more presence, with more of an energetic capacity for you to be able to take on your day-to-day stuff. And everybody benefits from that, right? So this is not just for you, even though it is just for you. Everybody benefits when, I'm not a big fan of that saying, when mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy, because that's bullshit. That's not true. When you're not happy, you're making everybody else happy. You're doing everything for everybody else. You're prioritizing everybody else. Everybody's fed. Everybody's healthy. Everybody's taken care of. Everybody feels seen and heard and respected, because that's what you've given them. But you feel like a bag of shit, right? Because you've been giving all of the things to everybody around you, and you have not allowed yourself to receive that in return. And so this is where we really want to ask for support and not ask for permission. We don't need permission. We are the fucking permission slip, right? We are the permission slip for everybody else. So we need to be the permission slip for ourselves as well. And not to say that we don't need help to build that belief though, right? And sometimes our immediate family and friends are not the ones to give us or to help us build that belief, because they will always see us how they see us, and we will always show up how they see us in a certain way. And so we need to be able to practice. And that is what coaching does. That is what I do as a coach and a mentor, is I hold space for you to build that belief, and I will give you that belief, and I will mirror that belief back to you, that worthiness, that you can borrow that belief from me, that I know that you're worthy and that you're deserving and that you do fucking everything, and that you are, you do deserve to get the time and the energy and the money to do what you need to do to make yourself happy, to do what you need to do to get what you want and what you need, so that you can show up as that better version of yourself, because then everybody benefits from that better version of you, right? I think it's a disservice for moms to take care of everybody before taking care of themselves, because just think about what you can do if you are, instead of at like a quarter tank, if you're at 3/4 full tank. Think of how much more you can do. Think of how much more patient you are. Think of the capacity for you to hold space. Think of the capacity for you to check things off your list and be happier about it, or be more neutral about it, right? It's a disservice for you to ignore yourself and abandon yourself and neglect yourself, because you think that you're doing the better service to everybody else. But in reality, in the long term, you're taking away from everybody else, because you're not giving to yourself. And so this is the bulk of the work that I do with clients, with moms, is help them see their worth and their belief, and like give them that belief or help them build that belief from themselves, and they borrow that belief that I can hold and that space that I can hold for them until they are able to walk into a room. And we test this all out in tapping, right? This is the beauty of tapping, is you can test all of this stuff out for yourself. You can test out what to say, you see how it feels. You can test out what to say and then see how, the reaction that you get from yourself. And then you can, get back into a state where you can provide yourself better feedback. You're like, okay, well, I think about saying this thing to somebody and then I get like, ugh, and I just have to, you tap all that feeling out. And then you're like, okay, now I think about saying this thing to somebody and I'm like, okay, well, I can actually hold my ground and stay steady in that. Okay, that's great. We can build on that, or you can go from there. Same with like having a discussion. You can actually say what you want to say in tapping before you actually have this discussion with somebody. And you can see what you need to tweak, what you need to like emphasize, what you need to tap into for yourself to know why you're actually having this conversation. What's the thing behind the conversation that you need to have? Like you can move through the doubts that are coming. So for me, I'm an introverted person. I internalize so much. I take, in my head, I take both sides of the conversation, and I will talk myself out of asking something for somebody, or asking something for myself, because I take both of those conversations. I take me asking, and then I take the response that I think somebody else is going to say. And then I just snowball it. I just like make up huge, crazy stories that really, in hindsight, have never fucking been true. They have never been true. They have never panned out the way that I envision them to pan out in my mind when I'm in that state of asking for permission. When I know that I am supported, when I see things as, my husband's here to support me, my kids are here to support me, my parents are here to support me, my friends are here to support me, my business, money is here to support me. When I am in that state, the way I show up to a conversation is so much different. And if there is resistance, if there is something where there is a little pushback or feedback where I'm like, oh, I wasn't expecting that, or I can hold my ground and hold my own, and I tap into the reason why I think that I want this thing, or why I know that I want this thing. It's not that I think I need it, it's that I know I need this thing. And then I'm also not attached to having the perfect answer right away. Again, tapping can be super liberating because it gives you so much space. You have a lot of energetic space, and you can come into conversations with that spaciousness and openness and lack of expectation, lack of attachment, which is huge. Because if you expect somebody to say something and then you're married to that expectation, or you're attached to the outcome, it can derail you, and you're not going to want to ask, or you're going to be gun shy from when you've asked in the past, right? So it's really, there's so much here. And I know I've only done one round of tapping. We're going to do one more round of tapping that's really going to shift you into I am supported. And when I need support, people love to support me. When I need support, the universe loves to support me, and I'm ready to receive it. So we're just going to get into tapping because I know I've been talking a lot. Sorry about that. So, side of the hand, and we're going to say, even though in the past I have felt like I've needed other people to validate my worth and to give me permission. And I love and accept myself anyway. And I know that's not entirely true. Even though in the past, when I've needed unintentionally permission from someone else in order to know that I was worthy and deserving of what I want and need, I can see how this is playing out now. And I'm ready to love and accept myself where I am and see it differently today. Even though in the past I can see how I've asked for permission and I have been attached and expected the conversation to go differently. I'm ready to let all of that go today. Because I'm not asking for permission. I'm asking for support. And I'm ready to embody this more today. We're going to go to the top of the head and say, I choose to ask for support today. Eyebrow point. I already know I've done enough. Side of the eye. I know that there's enough time. Underneath the eye. There's enough money. Underneath the nose. There's all the resources that I need. Underneath the mouth. It's all available to me now. Collarbone point. And so when I ask for something that I want or need, underneath the arms, I ask for support. Underneath the chest, I'm asking how to make this happen. Wrist points, I'm asking what people need. Top of the head, what needs to happen. Eyebrow point, in order to make this happen. Side of the eye, in order to make this a possibility. Underneath the eye, I can see where I've wavered. Underneath the nose, I can see where I've been wishy-washy. Underneath the mouth, where I haven't believed that I was worth it. Collarbone point, and the feedback I was given. Underneath the arms was the question of whether or not I was actually worth it. Underneath the chest, today I choose to ask for support. Wrist points, because I am the permission slip. Top of the head, and I write myself a limitless permission slip. Eyebrow point, to get what I want and need. Side of the eye, to receive what I want and need. Underneath the eye, I'm open to receiving what I want and need today. Underneath the nose, I am open to receiving the support that I need. Underneath the mouth, in order to make this all happen. Collarbone point, because when I have the support. Underneath the arms, when I feel satisfied. Underneath the chest, when I feel fulfilled. Wrist points, it benefits everyone around me. Top of the head, I'm more patient and present. Eyebrow point, I am more supportive. Side of the eye, and so today I choose to believe. Underneath the eye, and I choose to take action and show up. Underneath the nose, from a place of deserving. Underneath the mouth, a place of worthiness and value. Collarbone point. and the very strong belief underneath the arms that I get to be supported too. All right. So taking a moment here and I would love for you to take a moment to write down or to really contemplate, to really hold in your body as much as your mind and in your emotions, but really in your body, like where do you feel that that's true? Where would you like to that supportive power to emanate from, right? Like I feel like it needs to be from my center, from my core, from my solar plexus, but also from my sacral, because I am an emotional person and I do really resonate with that fact that my emotions are here to tell me how important something is. And so when I tune into that in a very supportive way, and if I offer myself my emotions and my body that support and feeling heard and seen and respected and valued, then when I show up to say, hey, this is going to help me and this is in return going to help others, or this is going to help me feel X, Y, and Z, and then I'm going to be able to show up for whatever in this way. And it's like a give and a take, right? So there's seasons of needing to give and there's seasons of both give and take, and then there's a season of receiving more than you're giving, right? So I think there's so many different seasons, and depending on where you are and what season you're in or cycle you're in, it's really important to really tune in to yourself about what it is that you want and need, why you think you can't have it, what do you think is blocking or resisting you, who do you think is blocking or resisting you, getting that all out onto paper, getting a session or a few sessions in with somebody who can actually hold space and help you see things differently. That was another major thing for me, is that I didn't know what I didn't know. And other people around me, my friends and family, didn't understand what I was doing. And they didn't understand what I was kind of like touching on or getting to, these deeply ingrained beliefs, like karmic or generational beliefs that I've been carrying within my psyche, my soul, whatever you want to call it, for this lifetime and previous lifetimes before. Anyway, it runs really deep. And there was this one belief that I had that that my happiness, it was either my happiness or our happiness as a family, and I couldn't have my happiness be incorporated and included into our happiness, right? That was a belief that I had. That was a very limiting belief that I hit, and it took my coach at the time, who I still mentor with off and on now, very specifically coaching. She like moved me through it, and she's like, this is a belief that you've been carrying. It's not yours. It's not true. You can change it. Do you want to change it? And it was just like, the relief that I have. And it helped me communicate so much better within myself and within my, especially with my husband, right? That dynamic, it really, really helped for that. And where I totally see things differently now, to the point where it's just like, it's really hard to think about how it was before. So if you're interested, please reach out for one-on-one sessions. I do have openings for a bundle of sessions that we can do. And I'm also going to be very soon opening up a self-paced kind of group program that I will be involved in. But it is essentially self-paced, and that will be coming out towards the end of January. So look out for that. That will be something that's really going to help you shift into a more aligned state for your expansion, for the for what you're seeking, the better version of you that you're seeking, so that you can show up better for other people as well. So have an amazing rest of your day. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. And we will chat with you next week for another intuitive tapping break. Talk to you then. Bye.